Hey guys, I'm Mumblesgada, and welcome to another review. This time we have Breaking Bad Season 5, Episode 11, Confessions. And what a great episode. I know I say this quite a lot with Breaking Bad, but this was the cherry on top of every episode so far. Season 5, Episode 11, Confessions was a great episode, pretty much perfect in my opinion. It was just amazing. There's all these turns, all these twists, things that were brought up that we forgot about, came right up and just stole the show. It was just amazing. Before I get right into this episode and, discuss it, just want to let you guys know it will contain spoilers. So if you do not want to know what happened, watch the episode and come back. So this episode starts off with Todd, and he's calling Walter on his phone, and he's saying, and he's talking to him, and he's saying, everything's going okay, just want to let you know, something, he's just updating him on the meth business, basically. Obviously, Walt's not going to call him. Then he goes into a diner with a couple of the men that he's working with, those neo-Nazi guys, and he just starts talking to them about the train heist. And he even says, yeah, Jesse and Mr. White, he's really casually talking about it. And it's a really good scene in the beginning because the neo-Nazi guys go to the bathroom and one of them wipes a little bit of blood off his shoe and just flushes it down the toilet. This really foreshadows what's happening right now and what's gonna happen because, well, it's bloody, as you can see, it's meaningless, and he just throws it down the toilet like it's worthless. And it's kind of like what Todd is going through right now and maybe what's gonna happen to him. And it's cool because Breaking Bad has a lot of foreshadowing, has a lot of symbolism that you have to pay attention to and really adds to the story, which I love when they do that. So, and Todd is basically going to start cooking in his own lab in New Mexico right now. So he's on his way. He's rising up in the ranks, basically. So then Jesse and Hank start to talk, as we've seen in the last episode where it ended. Hank goes into the interrogation with Jesse. And he basically says straight off to Jesse that he knows Walt is Heisenberg. But Jesse doesn't really say anything at first. And, Hank's just trying to get some information out of him, anything, really. He's saying, my own brother-in-law lying to me for over a year. You can feel how I'm feeling, talk. And then Jesse just says, not to you. So he's just, not going to say anything. But you can really emphasize with Hank and Jesse at this point because, well, yeah, Walter's been lying to Hank this whole time. And right now, at this moment, that's how Jesse is feeling too. He knows Walter is lying to him, especially about Mike. So, he has his suspicions right now, and I think he feels basically how Hank feels. So then Saul comes in right away, and, he's saying, did you say anything? No, okay, we got to get you back on track, blah, blah, blah. So then we go to Walter's house, and Walt Jr. says that Marie asked him to go over for dinner to help her fix her computer or something like that. Obviously, she made it up just so she can get the kids to her house. Hank and Marie want them to protect the kids. But obviously, Walter's not going to want that. So he goes and he stops him, and he basically just tells him straight right there that my cancer is back and, I'm back in chemo and everything. So then Walt Jr. is like, no, I want to stay with you, blah, blah, blah. Basically, Walt's planning to make him stay. And I don't know how the kids are going to end up in this show. That's the one thing I really don't know. Are they going to go with Hank and Marie? I don't think so. But obviously in the first episode of when the season started again, the house was run down. It was all broken and everything. So where are the kids at that point? We have no clue. So that's going to be kind of cool to find out. So then we go to Hank and Marie. And Hank tells me, I didn't tell anyone at the office that, I have my suspicions about Walt, but Marie really wants him to tell, the other people so that they can help catch him. But, Marie just keeps on nagging him, you have to tell someone, Hank's not going to tell anyone because he wants to catch him himself. Plus, he doesn't really have any evidence at all. So there's nothing really he can do. But I can feel how Marie and Hank are feeling right now. And just to put it out there, the acting by the actors that play Hank and Marie are, I think, superb in this episode. It really feels natural. I really feel like I'm watching a real family, going through this crisis right now. It does not feel like a show at all. And sometimes I just lose myself in the show and I forget I'm even watching a show. It's really amazing when a show does that. And this show is just spot on with that. So then we go to a little clip of Walt, and he's making a video and Skyler's recording him. And he says, this is my confession. And it just goes straight to a commercial, which, come on, commercials. That's why you gotta watch them after. That way you can skip the commercials, but whatever. And so Skyler and Walt are in a restaurant now, and this is after the commercial, and Marie and Hank come in, and they sit down with them at a table. So when they sit down, Hank just says, okay, you're here to confess. And Walt says, you know what, there's nothing to confess. This is just going to be about Walt Jr. And, and Holly, like, I want them to be with me. They're safe. Don't worry. Everything's in the past. Everything you think I did, I'm not doing now. That's basically what he said. And Hank just stares at Walt, like, that stares him the whole time. And, even Skyler says, there's no drug empire. There's nothing. And this is a really shocking moment to me. Marie just says right off the bat, you know what, Walt, why don't you just kill yourself? You're going to die anyway. And that was just like, wow, like, that was a really empowering moment for me. And it just felt like, yeah, it's just another reminder Walt's going to die, like, no matter what, even if he gets away with this. And I thought that was just a really central point. So then, and they just keep on going back and forth saying, you're not going to walk away with this, whatever you think, you're not going to do this, blah, blah, blah. So then Walter and Skyler just leave right away, and they leave the video that they made. So obviously Hank picks it up, and they go. So then we see Hank and Marie watching the video at their house, and basically says, this is my confession, and this was just perfect, and I did not see this coming at all. Great writing on the part of the writers for Breaking Bad, but basically he says that Hank is building a meth empire, and he made me his chemist. And he's using his connections with, the police officer and everything to, distribute the meth. And Gustavo Fring was his partner, and Gus and Hank had a falling out, and then Gus put a hit on Hank, and that's why those men tried to kill him. And he's saying all this stuff, and he's making basically Hank do everything that Walt did, but it fits so perfectly, and Walt has him pinned down now. And he's saying, like, Hank made me make the bomb, and he made me kill Gus with it. And he made me do this by taking my children for 3 months. Works perfectly. And you remember when the kids went with him? It works perfectly, and it fits, and it makes sense in Walt's lying confession video. And he even says, I live in fear every day that Hank's going to kill me or my family, and I don't want to do this anymore. I just have to make this video, and it's perfect. Like, he has Hank pinned. So then Hank finds out that Marie took money from Walter for his medical bills before when when the hit was on him and everything. So then that just even puts it further, like, okay, we took money from him. That just pins this whole, my confession video even more on us. I did not see that coming at all. And there's even actually another twist that happens later on that I didn't see at all either. But great. That was just amazing. I didn't think of that at all. So then Saul and Jesse are in the desert. And Walter arrives all of a sudden, and he says, what does Hank know, Jesse? And he just says straight up to Jesse, Walt says this. And he just says, he wants me to inform on you. I don't think he told anyone else, though. And Walter's just like, you know what, Jesse, let me help you. I don't want to see you, like, all sad and everything. He's like, I really think that you should move away and just disappear, I know a guy that can just do that for you. You can start a whole new life. And then Jesse kind of just breaks, and he says, you know what? Why don't just for once you just stop working me? Drop the concerned dad thing, and he's like, you need me gone. You don't want to help me. You just don't want me to rat out on you. And he's like, tell me you just need this, or you're just gonna kill me like you killed Mike. So again, he's just insisting that, yeah, I know you killed Mike. Like, stop lying. And it's just a really great just feud between them, because Jesse doesn't really know what to believe, and Walt just keeps spitting out lies. It's just really great. Just great to see that, the feud there. So then Walt just hugs Jesse, and he's, like, basically sobbing at this point. And again, it was, this hug's basically fake. Walter's just trying to save himself right here, but whatever. So then, people in the DA office go to Hank and say, why did you talk to Pinkman? And, like, you can't talk to him. He's my client. So they're starting to suspect, like, what are you doing, Hank? Like, tell us what you're doing. So eventually Hank's going to have to say, yeah, I think Walt's, Heisenberg. He has to say it sooner or later, or else what is he going to do? Yeah, I'm just, I just wanted to practice my interrogation skills on Pinkman. Like, you can't do that. So at this point, Jesse's like, okay, I'm going to go through with disappearing. I'm going to do what Walter said. I just want to get away from here. Just for, whatever. So Saul makes the call to the guy, and one of Saul's men is just going to drive Jesse to the guy that's going to make him disappear. And Jesse had on him some dope that he was starting to smoke, and then Saul's just like, you can't do that. This guy's not going to, make you disappear. He's not going to help us if you're high. Like, put it away. So he puts it in his pocket, right? So then, and Jesse says, maybe I should move to Alaska. Yeah. He's like, oh, well, I didn't really, and at this point, like, I believed that Jesse was just gonna leave and start a new life, which would be kind of really disappointing to me because I really wanted to see something else come out of this whole Jesse story that we've been seeing for all these years. Like, I kind of want him to redeem himself, basically, but and just seeing him, okay, I'm going to Alaska, bye, that would have been really heartbreaking, but it doesn't happen. Because Jesse's at the drop-off at this point, he's just waiting there, and he just starts patting himself down, and he's like, and you can tell he lost something, and he doesn't have his dope on him. So at that point, a car stops, the guy that's going to pick him up to leave, and he doesn't go, he walks away. So what happened? Well, Jesse goes back to Saul, and Jesse just starts to beat Saul, and he's like, you pocketed my dope off of me. And then Saul's like, yeah, I just didn't want this, the guy to find it on you and then not go through with making you disappear. But at this point, Jesse realizes that the ricin in his cigarette was pocketed off of him by Saul also, and he realizes at this point that Walter poisoned the little boy that he was with, and that was really devastating to him. And you can see that he's going to be furious now because, well, Walt is the one hurting the people he loves. And he didn't know the whole time. And obviously, Walt made him think that Gus was doing it. So, he realized this and he just goes berserk. So then we see Walter, and he's at his car wash, and he's like, oh, I think the latch on the vending machine is broken. Let me go check it. So he opens it up, and he hides a gun in the vending machine. So he picks it up, puts it away, and he just drives away. So then we just see Jesse, and he arrives at Walt's house. He breaks in, and he just starts pouring gasoline everywhere, all over in the house. So obviously we can see why the house was destroyed in the first episode. But who writes Heisenberg? Who knows? It might have been just Jesse. We don't know. So this leaves a lot of open questions. But man, I did not see that twist coming at all with Jesse figuring out that the ricin was pocketed off by Saul. I completely forgot about that. I just assumed it was just going to stay like that and he was never going to find out. But obviously, when you least expect it, that's when it's going to come up. Great episode, 10 out of 10 for me, basically. It was just the perfect episode for me. I would just love that every episode would be like this great. But next episode of Breaking Bad is going to be ridiculous. We're going to see Walt's house on fire, hopefully, because, everyone likes a good explosion. I got to say that. But we'll see what happens next episode. I just want to say thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me, guys, on Twitter at UnblessedData, and I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.